I'm gonna be 10 toes down on what I believe is important, why I was born, what my responsibility is as an artist in this world, in this short life that I have. This fleeting moment of time where I am just a speck of sand in an ocean of humanity. Something that is just like flying by. This is the last video that I am making like this about this subject. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to be involved with it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'm not doing any more videos like this. No more. And this is not just like a YouTube thing where, you know, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to do videos like this in the future. You will never see me do another video like this, ever. I'm not doing a video about, you know, the YouTube algorithm. Well, let me put it this way. I am not going to complain about YouTube anymore. I'm not going to complain about the numbers. I'm not going to complain about my subscribers, my views. I'm not complaining about any of it. Monetization. I mean, I am not going to get involved with that anymore because I have no control over it. And the weird thing is that I notice when I make videos that I complain, when I make videos where I'm like preoccupied with this stuff, those videos do well. And frankly, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I don't want to do it. It bores me. You know, it's not genuine, or it is genuine, but it's annoying. You know, like, I don't understand why those videos do so well. I don't understand why people show up when you complain. I don't understand that. Like, for me, YouTube is supposed to be entertaining, educational, inspirational. Like, I don't go to people's channels to hear them complain, to hear them cry about their numbers. You know, like, it's annoying, you know. And for me, it's like bad for my mental health, you know, like, I don't want to think about it. I can't control it. I mean, look, clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to, so you know what, I'm going to use this video to complain for the last time, but you will never see this again from me, ever. But clearly, I have no idea how to deal with my thumbnails, my titles, my SEO, my keywords, all that kind of stuff. I mean, if that's the way you do well on YouTube, if that's the way you get these big numbers, then I don't know how to do it. I mean, I thought I knew how to do it. I intended to do well. I tried to learn about it. I did my best, but it doesn't work. And, you know, the videos that I think are good, they get the same numbers consistently. You know, I'm like a 200 to 250 view YouTuber. That's what I get. Like, it's really amazing sometimes. Like, I'll put a video out, and I'm trying to do it every day now because I want this to be like a daily diary of my life. That's what I want. That's what I'm doing. That's what my intention is. And it's pretty amazing sometimes where I'll put a video out and I'll get like 100 views in the first hour. And I'm like, that's it, it's gonna do well. I'm gonna go back to that 13,000 view thing that I got when I talked about monetization, when I complained about it, you know. But it just dies after that. You know, it goes to like 100, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get like 100 per hour. Then maybe I get to 200. Maybe I get to 500. Occasionally I'll get a video that goes 800, 1500, something like that. But generally, I'm around 200. That's about it. You know, like, you know, anything over 100 used to make me happy. And it still makes me happy because I appreciate the people who support me, who are here all the time. The genuine exchanges that I have with people, that's what it's all about for me. And you know what? I'm not just saying that. I'm not being one of these people that is, you know, like saying this and not meaning it, because I do mean it. You know, I really, really appreciate every person that comes through here. But I'm not going to be preoccupied. Like, look, I was really preoccupied, and I made genuine, from the heart videos about being monetized because that was a goal. I wanted to be monetized. And so it took me 5 years. And really, the last 8 months when I kind of finally got it, I made that monetization video, and all of a sudden I was like, whoa, that does well. So I made a few more talking about monetization, and I found myself just like complaining all the time. And I was boring myself. And then I'm seeing these videos grow, and I'm like, really? This is what people want? I ain't going to do it. And the other thing that bothers me is this. I don't want to do any videos that I don't feel like doing. Unless somebody's like, look, if I was sitting here talking about, $100,000 a year or more doing YouTube, then yeah, I would do whatever I had to do, within reason of making YouTube work. But then that would mean that I get it. So this is my last YouTube video like this, of this nature, of this kind. I'm not doing it anymore. I am absolutely not going to deal with this anymore. I'm not going to talk about it, and I'm not even going to think about it anymore. So let me explain. And first of all, Daddy's Daughter Movie Night. I'm promoting my friend, bought this t-shirt. I'll link his site in the description. You should absolutely watch his channel. He reviews films, mostly for children or family-oriented, father-daughter oriented, daddy-daughter, and he's gifted and will guide you to some beautiful films. Like, if it wasn't for him, I never would have seen the film Flow, and Flow changed my life. Like, one of the most beautiful works of art I've ever seen. I wouldn't have seen After Sun if it wasn't for him. So check out his channel, really good. I'm never going to do a YouTube video like this anymore. I don't want to think about the algorithm. I don't want to think about providing value. I don't want to think about the numbers. I don't want to think about how many subscribers I have or how many views I'm getting or any of that. I don't want to think about it anymore. I got monetized. That was a goal. During that time, it was important for me to think about that stuff because I wanted to get to a certain level where at least I was getting some groceries every month out of this, this effort that I'm putting forth to share this kind of work. But I also find it very insidious in that it kind of destroys your creativity when you start thinking about that kind of stuff, when you start to consider what the audience wants as opposed to what you think is important. I'm an artist, that's why I'm here. I know a lot of people don't consider themselves artists, but I do. That's what I do. I'm a full-time artist, and I don't think about stuff like that. I'm not a producer. I'm not a theater owner. I create the work. I'm a creator, a content creator, you could say. I'm a playwright. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a musician. I make a lot of different types of art. I'm a photographer. I don't want to think about it anymore. But most importantly, I don't want to talk about it anymore because I feel like these videos are the only ones that are not from the heart. I mean it when I talk about it. I'm sincerely thinking about the subject matter that I'm talking about. I am compelled to share it, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't really care. I can tell that I don't care enough because I don't feel, like I want to get involved with a back and forth about how to do this. Like when somebody says to me, start your video immediately, do this, do that, don't do B-roll, do B-roll. Like, I don't want to think about all that. I want to share work that I think is entertaining, compelling. I want to bend your mind a little bit, make you think, maybe put you out of your comfort zone a little bit, put me out of my comfort zone. I want to have a genuine exchange. I want to talk about things that mean something. I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about social activism. I want to talk about art. I want to do things that are just entertaining. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to think about YouTube as a business. I just don't. I know a lot of people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. And YouTube is a business. It's a viable business for a lot of people. But for me, when I think about that kind of stuff, like even today, I saw a comment on one of my videos that, somebody moved to France and got monetized in just a couple of months. That is so beyond the realm of reality to me. I have no idea how that happens. It took me 5 years to get monetized, but I don't want to think about it because I don't really care about that. It doesn't matter. I would rather see a video that moves me, that makes me feel something, and I want people to come here because they feel something, because they're inspired, because they feel motivated after they watch one of my videos to go out and do something, to not just sit there, I mean, I don't mind talking about cameras and gear and stuff like that if it inspires you to use it, to make some kind of art, to contribute, to do something that brings people together, to connect people, to reach out and actually listen and pay attention and not make it all about you. Create something that is about all of us. I've said this many times that my first director once said to me, I was working on a play that was kind of a memoir piece. It was about my life. And he said to me, Rock, even though Broke Wide Open is all about you, it's not a good play until it's all about all of us. And I carry that with me all the time. Like, to me, that's the smartest and most impactful thing any collaborator has ever said to me, anybody has ever said to me. Like, make it universal, make it about everybody, make it something that people can relate to, something that reminds them of them and their life, that reminds them that we're a community, that we're here together, that we're all the same, that we all want the same things, we have the same desires, we have the same, kind of wants and needs. Everybody, we're the same. That's what art is about for me. It's like, that's when it's most enjoyable. That's when it's most correct. Let me put it that way. This morning I was watching a video about cameras, and it was comparing the new Panasonic cameras to Sony cameras. And it was a creator who I enjoy watching. He's a photographer, and I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want it to look like I'm taking a shot at somebody. But it's somebody who I really enjoy his work, but it felt so contrived to me. It just felt like he came up with a good idea for a YouTube video, but he didn't mean it. Like, I knew that what he was saying didn't even make sense to him. Because basically what he was saying was that because Panasonic cameras have more capability than any Sony camera at this point, like they have more kind of packed into the camera, more codecs, more opportunities to do different things, more anamorphic support, things like that, that would be a reason to use a Sony, even though a Sony is even more expensive. So Panasonic is more and less money, but you could see a reason to buy Sony because that would be less complicated for you. Like, the other thing I learned as a performer is never consider that your audience is stupid. Like, your audience is very intelligent. So anybody watching that video has got to be like, okay, I can get a better camera for less money, and I can get a camera that does less for more money. So maybe I should choose that one because I'm stupid. Like, I don't get it. So you see, both of those cameras are amazing, and you would not be want for anything if you used either of those cameras, unless you're an anamorphic shooter. Then you got to go with Lumix, absolutely Panasonic. If you shoot anamorphic, don't even think about using anything else unless you're a high-end cinema camera person. But if you're using one of these mirrorless cameras, if you're shooting anamorphic, you got to have Panasonic. It's so much better, and it's cheaper. And so I'm like, you can't go wrong either way. And so I guess it was a good YouTube video. It's really, he does it really well. It's great. He gives a lot of examples. He works so hard doing all the B-roll, and it's just like a short film. But it was just kind of dumb. I felt like it was, insulting my intelligence in a way as a viewer, because it just felt so much effort to just come up with a YouTube video, because that's what it is. YouTube videos are about clickbait. That's what they're about. Like, you have to come up with a title to get people to watch your video. You have to come up with a thumbnail to get people to watch your video. I do it, everybody does it. That's what we think about. That's what YouTube is. And why do YouTube if you don't want people to watch your videos? Of course you want people to watch your videos. And so, yeah, I pay attention to my titles, my thumbnails, my SEO, keywords, things like that. But clearly, and again, this is the last time I'm doing a video like this, so bear with me. Clearly, I suck at that stuff. Like, I don't know how to do it. I'm not good at it because I am in the 100 to 200 to maybe 500 view kind of person on this platform. And I can't get past that. And the only times I did get past it is when I did a video like this, where I complained, and all of a sudden I got 13,000 views. Somebody who generally gets 250 views on average got 13,000 views because he complained about YouTube and talked about monetization. And so then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk about monetization for like the next 5 videos. And I did really well. And I got monetized suddenly after 5 years. Like in 8 months, boom, my channel exploded, it's all relative, exploded to the point where I got monetized. But I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't care about any of this. I don't give a shit about any of this. If I was talking about, a situation where suddenly I was making $100,000 a year from YouTube, that would be kind of a meaningful conversation. But I'm talking about making enough money to buy groceries every couple of months. Like, that's not a meaningful conversation. That's kind of just ego-driven, like, oh, I got monetized, I got enough watch hours, I got enough, subscribers. Like in the grand scheme of things in the world, what does that matter? With everything that's happening in the world, what does that matter? With all the division, with all the death, with genocide, with the loss of democracy, with women's rights being stripped, with people of color being dehumanized, like, who cares about any of this? That's, we need to do art about things that matter. I watched a video just before I started this video about a photographer who, in my opinion, is what art should be. I'm going to put a link in the description. I don't even remember his name. It was some guy from Brazil who fled Brazil when he was like 25 years old because it became a dictatorship, and he had to leave his home and he had to change his whole life. He had to uproot everything. It was really difficult for him, but it led him on this path of doing incredibly important work as a photographer, kind of like the film Lee that I talked about recently, about Lee Miller, who was a great photographer during World War II, a groundbreaking woman who did amazing work and who had a very complicated life. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. Not only the filmmaking, a 3.5-hour epic film, like shot beautifully, dialogue, everything, like the script, everything about it was just magnificent. So I don't mind talking about that. I don't mind talking about Roger Deakins. How did he shoot 1917 and make it look like it was one lens and one camera following a couple of people around? Maybe we can talk about, depth of field and Citizen Kane and how they just used everything was just stopped down so you could see everything in the frame. And everybody now is so preoccupied with a blurry background and stuff like that, including me. I enjoy that. But as you can see right now, I'm actually shooting with an anamorphic lens because I'm using only anamorphic lenses right now because I'm shooting a film with these anamorphic lenses. So I want them to kind of become a part of my body. So I'm using my 35mm series APS-C 1.33 f1.8 anamorphic lens, which is a mouthful. But I'm using that lens right now and I'm shooting at f1.8, but I'm only doing that because it's dark in here. It's raining outside, it's cloudy. But the other cool thing is I'm using all natural light. I was messing around with my lights before and I was like, nothing looks natural. Like I'm kind of trying to move away from what I've been doing, and I want to create just everything looks natural. I don't want it to look like a YouTube video anymore. I want it to look like it's coming from the windows. Like there's a window right here, that's my key light. There's a window back there lighting that painting. And everything else is just kind of having soft light from the windows that are coming in. And I like the way it looks. It just looks normal, like I'm sitting in my living room talking to you, which is exactly what I'm doing. So I don't mind talking about tech. This lens is incredible. These anamorphic lenses are ridiculous and they're so cheap. I'm using the Hollyland Lark Max to get the sound. It's a remarkable piece of audio equipment, even though it's kind of like old already and it's too big. But I solved one problem, is that I colored the branding on this thing. I just used the marker and made it all black. So all you could see is the little light now, because to me it looked so ugly before with this big Hollyland, like I hated the way it looked. So I just markered it out. And I'm sure the company would hate me for that, but I don't care. I bought it. They didn't give it to me. So I don't mind talking about audio. This thing is ridiculous. I'm recording into the camera and directly into this thing. So if the audio in the camera screws up for some reason, I have this as a backup. Awesome. I love my Panasonic S5. Awesome. Amazing. I don't mind talking about that, but I would prefer to most of the time talk about why I make the art that I make, what I'm intending, what is the reason to spend all this time and money and effort to make this work of art that might take me 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to see it to fruition. Why am I doing that? What is important about that? What is the meaning? What am I hoping to contribute to you? That's what I really want to talk about. That's what I'm about. I'm not about sitting here going, look at me, I'm the greatest, or look at this camera, it's the greatest, let's compare this camera to this camera. Like, it's just not me. And I get a lot from those videos. I'm not saying anything negative about them. I'm just saying it's not me. So, again, this is my last rant about this. I'm probably never going to be a big channel because I'm not catering to what YouTube wants. I think I've learned at this point what YouTube wants, and I've also learned that I'm not that kind of person. I'm not that kind of artist. I'm gonna be 10 toes down on what I believe is important, why I was born, what my responsibility is as an artist in this world, in this short life that I have. This fleeting moment of time where I am just a speck of sand in an ocean of humanity. Something that is just like flying by. I've lived 2/3 of my life probably already. I am not going to focus on comparing lenses in the time that I have when I wake up in the morning to when I go to bed at night. I'm not going to do that. I might talk about it from time to time because I am genuinely interested in it. But that's not going to be what that's probably 15% of me is a gearhead. And I am, I'm a tech nerd. I am. I've been a beta tester for companies. I was a pro audio beta tester. I was in the music business. I was a producer. I'm a musician. I'm totally into that. I'm totally into camera tech. I just don't feel compelled to buy it if I don't think that I need it. I don't need a new camera because it's got better autofocus because I don't use it, but I think autofocus is amazing. It's awesome. If somebody gave me a Panasonic S5 II or the new S1 Mark II or an S1H Mark II or something that has better autofocus than FX3 and FX30, of course, I would use it for these kind of videos because I'm not against it being easier. Somebody made a comment the other day to me. Here's another rant. Somebody, because I'm always talking about I don't need autofocus, I don't need all this tech. I think it's kind of dumbing us down in a lot of ways. It's just my opinion. But somebody said, oh, it's like you'd rather roll the window down manually in your car than just press the button. And I'm like, that is the most ridiculous metaphor I've ever heard. Like, rolling the window down in your car is not a creative practice. Manually focusing is a part of your creative practice. It's intentionally dealing with the frame, with the composition of what you're shooting. It has to do with the story. Pulling your window down in the car is just opening the window. Like, yeah, I'd much rather push the button. I don't care. But what happens when the button breaks? And all of a sudden, you wish you had that handle. That's a thing too. But I mean, that's the other part about YouTube that I can't deal with. Like sometimes you get these comments and they're just snarky, negative comments. They're not bringing anything positive to the table. Some people just sit there and scroll all day and then they feel the need to leave some stupid comment. Something ridiculous like that. Like, how does that contribute to anything? And I know people would be like, don't be so serious. Like, it ain't all that serious. They just made a joke or whatever, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was laughing when he did it. Maybe he loves my videos. I don't know. Maybe he hates me. Who knows? I know that there are a lot of people who clearly hate me, who watch my videos, and yet they watch all my videos because they leave these comments all the time. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing with your time? Like, you don't like me, and yet you're watching my videos every time I put one out? That's so weird. And that helps my algorithm metrics or whatever you want to call them. So crazy, yo. So, yeah, I'm not doing this kind of thing anymore. You will, I guarantee you. I know a lot of people might say this. I guarantee you, you will not see me complaining about the numbers on YouTube and monetization and all that stuff ever again. If my monetization goes crazy and starts to explode, I can see myself doing a video to share with people what's going on so that they have an honest kind of insight into how this works. I'll do that. But I am not going to be the complaining guy because I got nothing to complain about. I should be grateful for so much. I am so blessed. You know, I am so lucky. I'm so fortunate. And, you know, my life is pretty hard. You know, I struggle a lot. I got a lot of stuff that I deal with, but man, I am one of the luckiest motherfuckers in the world. And so for me to sit here and complain about YouTube metrics and numbers and subscribers and views and monetization, all this crap, I'm not going to complain about it anymore. I'm going to go with this daily diary that I'm doing, this everyday thing, and I'm going to try to make it as positive and as meaningful as possible, because that's what I want to leave as a legacy. When somebody goes back and watches what I've done, I don't want them to see all these videos about me complaining, and I'm going to leave them. I'm going to leave them there. I'm not going to delete any of my videos, because if somebody ever does go back and look at the history of Rock Wilk, which I don't know why they do that, but if they do, I want them to see, like, oh, he went through that bullshit too for a while. That's what YouTube did to people. I mean, I'm a guy who got off of social media because of the negativity, because I found no value in it anymore, and because of principles. Like, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, a billionaire, runs Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and the moment he said, we are no longer fact-checking, I thought it was a bridge too far, and so I didn't want to be a part of it, and so I guess as a statement, I said I'm leaving. Now, do I think they care that Rock Wilk is leaving Facebook? Of course not. They don't give a shit. It's just like when you call T-Mobile or Amazon or somebody and complain about anything. You think they care about you? They don't care. These major corporations, they're just printing money. But sometimes you got to take a stand. Sometimes you have to think about your own integrity. You know, what you believe in. You have to make your life meaningful in some kind of way. And that is not always in a way that anybody else is going to see, or anybody else is going to notice, or not in a way that you're going to get any recognition. It's not all about that. It's about you. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about your own life when nobody else is looking, when nobody else is watching, when nobody else is listening, when you're not talking to anybody else, which is ironic because now I'm sitting here talking to a camera and thousands of people potentially are going to see this video. But I'm giving you insight into how I think. You know, I do a lot of things that I know full well makes no impact at all. Amazon doesn't care about me. The fact that I left Amazon Prime and gave that money to public radio, big deal. Who cares? I'm sure plenty of people will go, oh, okay, good luck with that, Mr. Woke guy or whatever. Like, but that's how I felt. That was important to me. I felt like I took the money from the rich and gave it to the poor. I believe in that. So anyway, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to bore you with this anymore. Maybe you're not bored with this, but if you like this kind of stuff, you're going to have to find it someplace else. And if you like what I do, here I am. I'm so welcoming of you. I'm so appreciative that you're here. I'm so grateful. I don't take it for granted. So yeah, if you like me, please subscribe. And if you like this, please hit the like button. I would appreciate that. And if you want to support an artist like me, you know, go to my website and check out everything that I do. It's rockwilk.com. I do a lot of stuff. And if you want to support somebody like me, which I think it's really, really important to support independent artists, especially now more than ever, become a part of my Patreon. That would be amazing. And as an artist, I don't think there's many things that we appreciate more. That's like paying money to come see me in a show. Like whenever I go to a theater and there's a bunch of people there, or whenever people watch my movies, I never take that for granted. I feel indebted to the universe for that, because that's why I make work, to share it. I don't make art for myself. I make art to share it. That's the only reason I do it. If I write a play, I can't wait to get on stage. If I make a movie, I can't wait to tell people like, yo, my movie's out. Go check it out. Let's go come to the screening. Like that gets me excited. So yeah, if you want to support somebody like that, join my Patreon. Check out my website. I have all kinds of merchandise that supports me as well. Support all of the independent artists that you believe in. If you find indie artists or people on this platform who you really think are making a contribution to your life, like your life is better because this person exists, support them. You know, don't just buy another, you know, coffee mug if you have 19 of them or something like that. Give that money to the artist. They're working really hard to create stuff. And in most cases, they're really struggling. So yeah, no more of this. I'm gonna just, you know, I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna do what I think is important, what I think is meaningful, and I ain't about complaining about anything. I'm just not about that. You know, I don't think it's useful in any kind of way. And I actually see value in everybody that I see here on YouTube, but I also know the difference between them and me, and I have to stay true to myself. And I can also tell when a creator is not being true to his or herself. And that makes me click off and never go back and bores me to tears. But when somebody's genuine or sincere, you know, I like tech creators. You know, Gerald Undone is very sincere about what he does. Potato Jet, you know, these guys, you know, Mark Bone, these guys are very sincere. Well, Mark Bone is more an artist doing stuff on the outside, but talks about tech and he's very, very passionate about it, and I appreciate that. So anyway, I've said enough about this video that I'm never going to do again. And I'll see you tomorrow moving forward, leaving this particular type of video behind forever. And please support this guy. Can you see the whole t-shirt here? I don't know if you can, but if you can't, I'm leaving a link in the description. And see you later.